We're wiring up a green future, but the metal that carries our electrons is vanishing. Copper, the silent artery of EVs, solar farms, and AI data centers, faces a gap that could stall the world's most ambitious plans. The shortfalls aren't decades away. They're taking shape right now, hidden inside a paper-thin surplus. We'll peel back the illusion of plenty, uncover the thirst we're building, the supply ceiling we're hitting, new players adding pressure, the geopolitics of the red metal, and the ultimate question: can we dig our way out? I'm Benny, and this is the Copper Cliff. Headlines keep telling us the copper market is swimming in surplus. 500,000 tons extra in 2025. Sounds like plenty, right? Goldman Sachs even points to a 160,000 ton surplus for 2026, insisting no shortage is anywhere on the horizon. But let's zoom out for a second. That surplus, the one everyone's been talking about, equals just 1.33% of annual global supply. 1.33%. That's not a comfortable buffer. That's a rounding error. A margin so tiny it could vanish overnight with a single mine strike, a flash flood, or a sudden trade shock. We're looking at a market that feels balanced, but underneath, it's already creaking under the weight of what's coming. This tiny surplus is just masking a massive structural deficit. And the thirst that's about to hit it? Well, that's a story for our next chapter. The energy transition, for all its solar panels and wind turbines, is fundamentally a copper transition. Think about the car in your driveway. A regular gas-powered car needs about 23 kilograms of copper. An electric one? It gobbles up 83 kilograms. That's in the motor, the battery, the wiring, everywhere. This isn't just about cars. It's the entire electrical system of the future. Back in 2015, EV copper demand was a tiny blip, just 56,000 tons. By 2030, it's projected to hit a staggering 2.5 million tons. And when you add in all the new solar farms, wind turbines, and power lines needed to connect them, the scale becomes hard to even comprehend. Global demand is already hovering near 27 million tons this year. S&P Global projects that number will surge to 42 million tons by 2040. Now, recycling is going to be a hero in this story. We're expected to double our copper scrap recovery from 4 million tons today to 10 million tons. That's huge. But even that heroic effort, that mountain of recycled metal, can't close the gap. It's a 10 million ton deficit by 2040, and there's only one place the rest can come from: massive new mining. Which brings us to a very uncomfortable question: can the ground even give us what we need? The demand for copper is skyrocketing, no surprise there. But here's the thing: mines are hitting a hard ceiling. And I mean that literally. The average ore grade has fallen 40% over the past 20 to 25 years. We're now digging through twice as much rock and burning through way more energy just to get the same amount of metal. It's like running faster just to stay in place. Now, if that wasn't sobering enough, S&P Global drops this bomb. Global copper production will peak in 2030 at around 33 million metric tons. That's just 5 years from now, right when the energy transition is shifting into high gear. So the supply ceiling is coming down fast. But wait, it gets way crazier. Wood Mackenzie calculates that meeting 2035 demand will require more than 8 million tons per year of new mine capacity. 8 million. That's like adding a brand new, top-tier copper mine every single year. I mean, are you kidding me? That's a monumental task, and historically we've never pulled off anything close to that. And here's the kicker: all this daunting math assumes today's demand drivers. It doesn't include the new players piling on: AI data centers, defense spending, and whole new industries electrifying. That's the twist in the tale we're exploring next. Just when the energy transition had the copper market stretched to its limits, two new heavyweight consumers crashed the party: artificial intelligence and defense spending. Think about what powers a massive data center. It's not just servers. It's miles of copper for connectivity, and even more for massive cooling systems. And the smart grid? That needs copper to balance all that intermittent renewable energy. The S&P Global study calls this a systemic risk because the AI boom simply wasn't factored into those earlier, already terrifying supply forecasts. And as if that wasn't enough, defense modernization is locking in demand. We're talking electrified military vehicles, upgraded communication networks, and radar systems. This isn't just consumer tech spending that can fluctuate. This is politically locked-in, long-term demand that needs copper right now. So with all these new mouths to feed, who actually controls the copper? That's where things get really tense. When you look at who's actually buying all this copper, the imbalance is jaw-dropping. China alone accounts for nearly 60% of global refined copper consumption. The United States, second place, barely scrapes 6%. That's a 10-to-1 gap. And in 2025, Washington finally sounded the alarm, officially designating copper a critical mineral. It's a signal that this isn't just about economics anymore, it's national security. But here's the problem. Even if the US wants to mine more copper, permits are stuck in molasses. One mining CEO, Roque Benavides, put it bluntly, bureaucracy is not the answer, we cannot lose time. The race for copper is now redrawing global alliances and supply chains. It's no longer just a commodity, it's a strategic choke point. So if we're facing a shortage and geopolitical friction, can we actually dig our way out of this? We'll tackle that next. The price signal is flashing. Copper hit a record $11,771 a ton in 2025, with forecasts of $15,000 by 2035. But a new mine takes 10 to 15 years, and by 2040 we face a 10 million ton deficit. Technology and recycling can soften the blow, but the gap is too wide to close entirely. The copper cliff isn't a question of if, it's how steep the fall. The energy transition isn't just a story about electrons. It is a story about geology. And right now, geology is dealing one of the worst hands imaginable. We are trying to swap oil for ore, but we might just be trading a climate crisis for a mining crisis. If you want to dig deeper into the hidden materials powering our world, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.